Why properties are the silent killers in a HubSpot portal. So Richie, clients come to us all the time and they've got hundreds of properties, contacts, deals, companies' properties, and they are a mess. And it's something that we specialize in cleaning up for them.
That's awesome.
Richie, yeah, that's awesome. 100% it is awesome.
Yes, I just did that, and I can't tell you how much of a shocker it is, both for myself and for the clients, to actually, when you actually pull it up and show them that this is all the stuff that you're capturing right now, and look at all these missing properties and things that are just not lining up. There's duplicates here and there. It's a big shocker. So
yeah,
that's
100%.
What it's about. Yeah.
So in this episode of HubSpot Mentors, is that the right title? Yeah, that's the right title. We're talking to you about how to clean up your HubSpot portal, part one, probably of many parts, specifically contact, deal, and company properties. We're just going to go with those records, our basics, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And every single broken workflow, every single useless report, all of these things, confused sales rep, boils down to bad property hygiene. So we need to tackle that right off the bat.
I mean, if you can't get your reports talking to you, if things feel messy, if lists aren't working, I mean, to Richie's point, workflows don't work. It's all properties. It's all fields, properties, whatever you want to call them. And it could be something really, really simple that we're going to go into in a moment. And then, of course, there's a featured feature, which Richie will...
I'll get to you. I'll get to that for sure. The feature is actually very closely tied into what we're discussing today. So it's actually a really good one. So we'll talk about it a little bit in one of our sections. And then at the end of the video, I'll show you guys how we actually do that in a tactical way, to give you guys some ideas on how to clean up your portal.
Nice. All right. So Richie, I love this. What does a clean property actually mean?
What does a clean property actually mean? I think, look, the first one for me here, which is low-hanging fruit, which is I don't like single-line text. I think that's what it is. Because a lot of the times...
That's the one you can put in, like, whatever data you want.
Yeah, I think by default, people kind of just feel like, I just want to regurgitate everything that my client or prospect is saying to me. So, a single-line text or multi-line text would do, and just plop in this whole blurb. But the issue with that is, it's hard for us to report on that.
Yeah.
Because it is just you could type in pink fluffy elephant or something, and that's what's going to show up in the report. So the big thing for me here is identifying with the client if there is a set of predefined options that best reflect the business at that particular point in time.
Yep.
And then set it up as a drop down, a multi-select. And that would significantly clean up your properties.
So like a great example for anyone listening in Australia would be
oh my God.
state.
Yep.
Like, and we've all felt this. So state out of the box is a free text. I don't think it's more like US format as well. So it's not perfect.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many different variations of New South Wales I have seen.
Lowercase New South Wales, lowercase NSW, uppercase.
Upper N, lower S, upper W.
And by the way, guys, if you guys don't know this, all of these things will come up as, again, separate report.
We can't report on it.
Yeah, you can't report on it. So your pie chart just looks like 25 different slivers of it.
Yeah.
And in reality, you've only got 8 states, right? That's pretty much it.
Shouldn't be any more than 8.
Yeah, no way.
No, I agree with you. So when we say what a clean property means, I mean, you can still use a free line text, but we will challenge you. We will challenge you as to
time
whether
and place,
or not,
of course.
do we need this, right? So we want to look at options where there's very clear naming conventions. So even the name of the property as well as the Richie's laughing because it's funny. People don't name their properties very well. Oh, you had a point, Pep.
Yeah, we're going to point about that. We'll get to that, yeah.
I will come back to that one. But like naming the property properly, making sure that whatever options are inside the property are also named well. And if you do have a naming convention within the property, you're following that naming convention too so that it's consistent. The right field type, like Richie was saying, don't use free line text. Let's use drop downs, multis wherever we can.
And not to say, right? It's like we've always have this. There's always an option to have an other. Okay, you can always have an other in the drop down, and then off the back of that, using conditional logic again, if that's selected, then boop in your little field, in your little form or your sidebar, will then ask,
yes,
can you please explain? So then you can then go back and refine your options again. Maybe perhaps when you're lost something, you didn't know that some option was just gone to competitor. Okay, for example, that is. And which competitor? Okay, gone to competitor, and then expand on that. Which competitor are you actually going for? And then they can feed back into your marketing 100%. To be like SEO stuff because we have identified across the past quarter we have lost 50, 60 opportunities or leads to
competitor X. Yeah, 100%. I love that. And then clean properties, when we go into a portal, clean properties to us also mean we don't have duplicates of properties, like 4 or 5 different ways to name as an education provider.
Yes,
Definitely not that ideal. And also we don't have properties that have got no usage. So properties with no usage just indicates to us like there's no point to having it there. HubSpot allows us to archive things now. So where we can, we want to be archiving. So that's what clean looks like to us. Do you think there's anything there, Richie, you'd add? What does clean properties look like?
I think I like your point before. I think you're saying, having 4 to 5 different properties that all kind of answer the same thing. Let's go into a bit of a deeper into like the psychology of why people do that, right? I think really quickly, perhaps we need to talk about who in your organization is actually allowed to create properties in the first place, because they just nips it in the bud, right? Like a HubSpot, we always talk about HubSpot champions, the one person or a set of people that has quote unquote control over HubSpot. It's always easy and nice to kind of outsource it to red pandas, but we like to give the power back to our clients and say, hey, look, who is the person that should be responsible for being allowed to create all these properties? And then from there, give them the right seats, give them the right permissions to actually do these things. Because you'll then have, I just feel like creating a new property now and then start collecting a particular field just for a specific, for example, marketing activity.
It happens all the time.
But then after that, it's not using anymore. You're not using it in 2 years' time. Yeah.
I had a client earlier this year where I'd created a property. She had a super admin rights, and then she's created the same property as mine. Now, the property that I had created was connected to everything else.
Oh.
It was like a brand setting property. So then she's gone and cloned it and done her own brand setting somewhere else. And I've really kind of sternly but also politely and empathetically explained to her that, like, I'm so proud of you for, trying to go and do this thing, but this field that you've just cloned and gone over here, now that you've done that, none of the work that I've done with you in the background is going to fire because you've created your own thing. So it's, yes, she's not only she's duplicated, but she hasn't taken into consideration all of the workflows or automations and reports that first property was linked to. So now when she goes and uses this one, there's going to be discrepancies in the reports because there's a duplicate of a property. Spot on. So yeah, I feel you. I feel you with that one. Any more in the psychology of why people do that, do you think? Why they're creating other than just having too much permission?
I think one more is, this ties into marketing. I love marketing. So this one is when you're actually going out there and doing paid acquisition for so like Facebook marketing, meta marketing or whatever, you have your form fields, right? I think we need to understand that there's a outward facing property name, like what you want to call that question, versus internally into the business.
Attribution specifically?
For what you're going to call that property. Because oftentimes when you're creating something from the form, on the form's perspective, you want to ask things in a certain way. You want to word it in a certain way.
Yes, definitely.
Something like, how old are you?
Yeah,
right? It's not how old are you, it's what age. It's age.
Yeah.
That's the property.
What's your age, right?
Yeah, the property is age, or what is your age.
Yeah.
But then if you want to maybe cater that particular property to different people based on your marketing activities, just be aware that you can change that outwardly facing name on the form.
The internal name.
The internal name should be a set standard process.
Yeah, that's a really good point to make. Like, what is the field called externally facing to an end user versus what's it called internally for your team? Because they're two different, like, this is semantics, right? We're getting into the details. Two very different kind of words, but mean the same thing.
Correct.
I mean, that's
and then making sure that when you create that, right, you need to then, this is a setting in HubSpot again, when you need to map it to the appropriate, correct HubSpot, correct, for the syncing purposes.
Specifically,
That's right.
Yeah, you're spot on. Dude, that happens in forms as well. I see clients create HubSpot forms and then the field name is like this giant sentence.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. Utilize
so it's really
help.
Similar stuff.
If talking about forms, utilize the help helpline
option or
description, use that.
There's heaps of stuff in there that you can use instead of a really long field.
Correct.
Richie, that makes so much sense. I feel like I want to say I just learned that now. I didn't just learn that now, but it's kind of like, reminding me of the basics. I mean, moving into a bit more tactical now in terms of how, if I was a client auditing my properties,
right,
where do I go? What do I start with? What's the process?
So for this one, what we've done recently is, actually really showing, like not just only for us, but for our clients and ourselves, at the sheer volume of the properties that we're working with all in one place. Because as you guys know, inside of HubSpot, your property section is broken down by object, right? So it's, you got to look at things, but most of the time too, objects kind of talk to each other and they kind of flow through the different pipelines, the different objects as you're working through it. So it's very nice to have one place to view all these things. So how do we do that, right? So what we've learned is we have actually exported all of these different properties into one single spreadsheet. So we've got on the far left-hand side, we've got all of our contact properties, we've got all of our company properties, all of our deal properties. And then from there, via the export, it actually breaks it down not only by the name, who created it, but also the usage rate. So how much of this of the database is actually being captured in this particular property, as well as how many, where is it a part of in the portal? So are they part of lists? Are they part of workflows? Are they used in forms? Yada yada yada. So then what we'll do next is that we'll actually rank and sort them and color code them, because we're all visual creatures here. We like to have nice, pretty colors, right? So what we'll then do is that we'll then sort it to say, okay, at the very, very top, we have got in red, use rate 0.
Yeah.
And it's not attached to anywhere. Okay. So it's like, these are literally dead properties. It's not doing anything.
So we should move them on to the afterlife.
Just send them away, right? No point holding on to something for so long. And it's crazy because sometimes when you actually pull it up, you can see that it hasn't been used in years. Like it was like something that was the other person was using before. So just get rid of it, right? So that's the first thing.
That's a good
one.
And
then sort it. And then what I have is a sort of criteria. Again, it kind of differs from business to business, but a general rule of thumb is, okay, use rate 0, and it's anything less than 1%, you should really consider getting rid of it. Anything between 1 to 5 or 1 to 10%, that's kind of in the gray area. Let's try to escalate it, all right? You go back to the client and say, I noticed that these properties are kind of being used. Do you still want it? Can we merge it into something else? Can we do something with them? And then above 10%, it's just like a matter of, okay, it's being utilized, let's leave that alone for now.
But then how do you go and find what looks like duplicates? Can you pull that out somewhat easily, or is that like a...
Boy.
I mean, I'm sure we've got some AI automation ideas that we're probably not ready to share yet.
Of course.
But right now, like, how do you go through a list of properties, let's just say just contacts, and not quickly, but determine if there's duplicates there without talking to the client? Can you?
We need to use our own kind of, judgment. I guess back to our whole reasons as to why people create multiple properties in the first place, right? You kind of tend to name it for a specific kind of use case. So very quickly, based on the property name, you can kind of pick up on duplicates. You can kind of see that this looks like this, or even down to the point that if this particular property A is being used in a form that looks like it's always going to be on a website, or is always going to be used on a landing page, or always in like Facebook ads forms. So that's a kind of way for us to get an inkling of whether or not this is potentially going to be a flag as a duplicate. But honestly, there's no real easy way until you raise it with your client. Yeah.
I do wonder so one of our clients has recently purchased Data Hub, and we're starting to play around more with anomalies in properties, and less like property duplicates, but like you can highlight a few properties within the Data Hub feature to say, hey, if you notice any anomalies, as in like significant data like uploads or changes to this property, like flag it with me. So that's not quite what we're talking about here, but maybe Data Hub is going to start to be able to highlight things like that. I mean, like you can already look at with Data Hub, you can already look at, oh my God, what's it called? I can't remember, but there's that little feature that's like allows you to review properties that might look similar.
Right.
But if they're named really different, it doesn't pull that up. So like I had a client that had company type, category type, and like deciding factor, right? They were called 3 very different things, but they all actually meant the same thing.
Right.
So when we did a cleanse and merge of those, it was very manual. It was very much like you've got 50 here, 40 there, 164 here. This is connected to 500 workflows. This is
and I think right, to that particular point, I think it's really important to really focus on data as early on in the piece as possible.
Yes.
Because I don't think clients really know how much of a strenuous activity it is to clean up after the fact. Like exactly what you just said. Just imagine this, everyone. If you have just one property attached to just five different items, you can't delete or do anything with that property until it has been quote unquote disconnected
Or addressed.
You
need to address them, right?
and then you can't move it. And then
I mean, Richie, we've had clients come in with optimizations first. They've done killer optimizations for 4 months. They've gone away, they've come back, and we're doing data cleanse with them maybe 12 months after an optimization. Some clients come to us and part of their optimization needs to be data cleanse because it's like they can't progress. They can't kind of break through that HubSpot ceiling unless they get their data in a better place. So I do think as well, this kind of service that we provide to clients does change with HubSpot's functionalities as well. Like when lead objects came out, we had a big solid 1.5 years. Every optimization was a lead object rollout without fail. Now we've got clients coming to us still on optimization. They don't need a lead object rollout because they know how to use it now. It's been out for 2 years or so, but they've just made so many properties across all the different objects and they're like, I don't know what's going on. So we're not doing lead up. We're still doing them, but it's more like you just need a lot of help with sorting your shit out.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting, like reflecting on how the product has also kind of like shifted with HubSpot's features and functionalities.
And of course, HubSpot continues to evolve, and like what you mentioned, we're still testing it out right now in terms of the capabilities of automatically picking stuff up. Data Hub, it's a whole different rabbit hole to go down.
Well, I know with, side note, Data Hub, one thing that I'm working with my client on is like duplicating. Automatic deduplicating. That's a big word. So with the subscription she's got, we can automatically dedupe contacts and companies based off of 3 or 4 set criteria that we tell it.
Right.
So, and I think HubSpot it gives you the criteria. So HubSpot's dedupe function comes up, says, all right, for contacts that you want to dedupe, what's the criteria that has to be matching? They have to have the same first name, email, last name, and phone number. If 2 contacts live in the system with the exact same 4 properties, automatically dedupe them or merge them. Sorry, automatically merge them. Same with company. If 2 companies live in the system with the same domain, automatically merge them. That's actually really cool, right? In terms of, I know we're slightly off topic,
saver. Yeah, for sure.
But we can't customize those rules right now. Right now, we have to use HubSpot's rules. So to Richie's point, the system, the tool is so rapidly evolving. And I'm so grateful that we have a team of specialists at Red Pandas to share the load of how much information comes out. Now, before we head into a wrap/featured feature, Richie, is there any more you want to add to the do's and don'ts or property cleanup? Like pro tip from someone that does this frequently with enterprise companies, all over Australia. Maybe there's like a couple of pro tips that you want to share to our listeners about this particular topic.
I think this is what I typically do before we get into the weeds, right? Is to understand. I'm always gonna love this. You gotta view HubSpot like a battlefield. you gotta look at it, or you gotta study your terrain, which is true. So before you go into battle, you need to make sure that you understand the lay of the land, and then approach not just the quick wins, identify which angle it is you're trying to approach this. So what I like to do is, apart from what we discussed before, which is exporting off your different properties, we'll then actually take a look at what's what's in there already. Create a dashboard. We like to call it just RP, data hygiene, our own little dashboard. And then within those, create reports specifically to the KPIs or the information that is important to the business, and see what it actually comes up with in the first place. From there, it's very clear. If you use the right properties, use the right display feature, like the chart feature or a table or whatever, you'll be able to very quickly see where the clog is. Because oftentimes once you create the report, you have this one whole section of no value, for example, or something just seems completely off. From there, you can kind of work backwards. And this is where I guess our expertise comes in terms of investigative HubSpotism, not investigative journalism,
I love this.
but investigative HubSpot kind of whatever, to really go in there and to say, where does this contact or object originate from? What's causing this missing gap in the first place? And then let's fix it from the core, and then prevent it from ever happening again. this I feel that this is not just quick wins. It really helps bring to the surface what is it, especially most of the time is from the marketing side, because data is coming in usually from marketing, or it could be sales as well, to make sure that you have these things set up at the right time, captured at the right time, so that it has a good trickle-down effect to the rest of your organization.
Yeah, the trigger-down effect is huge, from marketing to sales to service. That's one thing that, we'll always spend time with customers on. Thanks for that, Richie. All right, well, we're going to head into your featured feature now.
Awesome.
So over to you, but we'll finish it after that. So tune in for our next episode, which is going to be part 2 on cleaning your HubSpot portal. Details do come soon.
All right. See you guys there. Bye-bye. In this week's feature, we're going to dive into how to extract and analyze your existing data in HubSpot, specifically property data. This will help you clean up your portal, remove any duplicates, identify areas of overlap, and come out the other side with a clean, well-structured data set that informs and not confuses. So let's get into it. First of all, we're going to head into your HubSpot portal and navigate over to the gear icon in the top right-hand corner of your screen, right over there. We're going to go into and scroll down on the left-hand side until we find Data Management, Properties. Now from here, we can select which object it is that we want to extract data from. So in this particular case, we're going to focus in on our contacts, our companies, and our deals or opportunity objects. So for contacts, for example, we can go into here and take a look at all the different properties that we have. Let's look at opportunities. Now from here, what we want to do is actually filter out any default HubSpot properties. So under all users, we're going to instead select anyone that is not HubSpot. All right. From here, we're going to hit this checkbox here, select all 44 properties or as many properties as it highlights for you. And we're going to hit export properties. Choose what file format that you like. I like this one right here. And we're going to go ahead and hit export. Now do this for all the different properties that we're looking to analyze. In this case, again, contacts, companies, and opportunities. Now I'll see you guys over in our spreadsheet. Now you should get your files given to you via HubSpot through your email provider, right? So you'll receive 3 separate emails with the properties with a download button. Go ahead and do that, and let's drop it into your drive of choice. So here, let's go into contacts, for example. All right, we've got a couple of columns here that we can try and manipulate, but I'm going to pick off some of the stuff that I think is of key importance to us and just kind of ignore the rest. Okay, so we want to keep name, of course. Perhaps internal name is helpful. We don't need type. Description is helpful, but not necessary. We don't need any of this. Let's keep our options, just so we can take a look at that. Let's remove all of these here and keep created by, just so we can have an idea of who actually created this. But the most important thing that we're trying to look at here is the usage and the fill rate. So let's actually move this all the way over to the left, right next to our name. All right, there we go. Let's do the same thing for our different objects. All right, now that we have all of our data in one place, let's just split them up into different tabs. So we've got contacts, companies, and deals. And already it's much simpler to have a broad overarching view of what's in your portal. Next thing I'm going to do is actually have a bunch and apply some filters. And we're going to sort them based on the fill rate. And what we like to do here is highlight in red any lines that are below 1% as red. So fill rate less than 1%. Let's go ahead and highlight that red. Anything from between 1 to like 5 to 10% as orange, and anything above that as green. And there you go. Now you've got a clear and easy way to identify any properties that are potentially underutilized, any duplicates, or just there for no apparent reason. Go ahead and delete them, and you have a cleaner HubSpot data. Well, one thing I like to do as well before you delete anything is actually create a report. Now you can see here this is a data cleanup project that we did for a client, where on the left hand side here we can see what the data used to be, a bunch of single line text, and it's just formatted really poorly, so there's no real takeaways you can get by looking at a report like this. And after we implemented our cleanup, now on the right hand side is a very clear picture of the budget ranges that they are working with clients through. So you can see here that majority of their clients are up to $200,000 and above. So very clearly you can see and extract some insights from your data this way. So make sure that your data is clean, clear, and you'll have a much healthier portal moving forward. Thank you very much, and see you in the next one. Bye.